The morning sun cast golden rays over the serene bamboo grove monastery, painting the land with a tranquil glow. Disciples gathered around the Buddha, their hearts filled with questions, their eyes searching for wisdom. Among them, a young man named Ananda spoke up, his voice tinged with frustration. "Master," Ananda said, "I do not want to work for the rest of my life. Is this existence merely toil?" The Buddha observed Ananda with a calm gaze, his expression gentle and knowing. The air grew still, awaiting his reply. "Ananda," the Buddha began, his voice steady like a flowing river, "the desire to escape toil comes from a misunderstanding of its purpose." The disciples leaned closer, their attention wholly devoted to the wisdom about to unfold. "Work is not merely a burden," the Buddha continued, his tone soothing yet firm, "but a practice in mindfulness and purpose." Ananda lowered his gaze, the weight of his frustrations meeting the gravity of the Buddha's words. "Consider the carpenter," the Buddha said, gesturing subtly with his hand. "He does not view wood as an enemy, but as a medium for creation." The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, their understanding beginning to deepen. The Buddha paused, allowing silence to settle before continuing. "Let me tell you a story," he said, his voice imbued with timeless wisdom. A soft breeze rustled through the bamboo grove, carrying his words like a melody. "There was once a farmer," the Buddha began, his tone resonant and measured, "who felt burdened by his unyielding land." The disciples leaned forward, captivated by the narrative unfolding before them. This farmer toiled day and night, yet his crops grew sparse, and his efforts seemed in vain, the Buddha narrated. "One day," he continued, "the farmer, overcome with despair, decided to abandon his field and seek solace in idleness." Disciples exchanged glances, recognizing the profound analogy's application in their own lives. Anand nodded, his thoughts illuminated by the Buddha's words. "Anand, do not fear error, for it is the gatekeeper of progress and the teacher of resilience," the Buddha advised. "Mistakes are not failures. They are stepping stones that lead to pathways of deeper enlightenment." Anand absorbed these truths, his heart stirred by hope. The Buddha turned his gaze to the gathering, addressing all present in his gentle tone. "Ananda," he said, "freedom is not the absence of effort, but the harmony of purpose and action. Work, when done with mindfulness," the Buddha explained, "becomes not a chain, but a key to liberation and growth. Faith and persistence nurture the potential dormant within every effort, turning barren grounds into fields of abundance," the Buddha proclaimed. Disciples nodded in unison, affirming their belief in the transformative power of perseverance. Anand felt his spirit lifted, ready to embrace challenges anew. Buddha's eyes met Anand's, instilling courage and purpose in the young disciple. "Mistakes are not the culmination of failure but the fragments of wisdom that form the mosaic of a meaningful life." Anand bowed deeply, his gratitude evident in his reverent posture. The sunlight filtered through the bamboo grove, casting intricate patterns on the ground, symbolizing the complexity of life. The Buddha closed his eyes briefly, as if communing with the essence of the universe itself. "Ananda," the Buddha said, addressing the young disciple once more, "find joy in the process, not just in the outcome." The disciples nodded collectively, the lesson resonating deeply within their minds and hearts. The bamboo grove seemed to hum with life, as if the universe itself acknowledged the profound teachings shared. The day unfolded gently, the disciples carrying with them a renewed understanding of the interplay between effort and existence. Anand smiled, his heart ignited with hope. The forest whispered its eternal song as Buddha's words lingered in the minds of his disciples, shaping their understanding. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of amber and crimson, the disciples gathered once more. The Buddha, seated in serene contemplation, radiated a sense of peace and unwavering purpose. The disciples bowed deeply, their gratitude flowing like a river toward the source of their enlightenment, the bamboo grove. Monastery, a sanctuary of wisdom and serenity, became an eternal witness to the transformative power of the Buddha's teachings. Anand absorbed these truths. Seeking their application in his life's forthcoming chapters, Buddha gestured toward the sky, his hand tracing the flight of a bird uninhibited by fear of the unknown. The stars began to emerge, one by one, illuminating the night sky with their gentle brilliance. The disciples, now united in purpose and understanding, prepared to rest, their souls nourished by the profound truths shared that day. The Buddha, a beacon of compassion and wisdom, remained a steady presence, guiding them toward the ultimate liberation. Another day, another sunlit morning graced the bamboo grove, its gentle light casting a serene glow over the monastery. The disciples gathered once more, their questions and yearnings tethered to their hearts, awaiting the Buddha's wisdom. Among them, a young woman named Sujata approached, her face illuminated by both wonder and unease. "Master," Sujata began, her voice resonating with longing, "my heart yearns for freedom beyond these walls. Is life meant to feel so constrained?" The Buddha's gaze softened as he listened, his presence embodying compassion and understanding, his silence inviting her to speak further. "I dream of roaming the forests," Sujata continued, her words flowing like an untamed river. "Is this desire misguided?" The Buddha took a deep breath, his exhalation as steady as the rising dawn, and finally responded with a calm voice. "Sujata," the Buddha began, his tone a soothing melody, "freedom is not defined by external journeys, but by inner harmony." The other disciples listened intently, their attention captured by his profound yet gentle words, their hearts open to understanding. "The yearning for freedom you feel," the Buddha continued, "is the call to discover peace within, not merely beyond." The sound of rustling bamboo leaves mingled with his words, as if nature itself bore witness to this moment of teaching. "Let me share with you the tale of a wandering monk," the Buddha said, his voice weaving the beginning of another profound story. The disciples leaned closer, their curiosity and yearning for wisdom aligning with Sujata's heartfelt question. "There was once a monk," the Buddha narrated, "who sought to escape the constraints of his monastery, yearning for the open world." The gentle rustling of bamboo leaves became a harmonious accompaniment, enhancing the captivating atmosphere of his storytelling. For years, the Buddha continued, this monk wandered the forests, scaling mountains and crossing rivers, but found no lasting solace. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, sensing that this tale would carry a powerful lesson intertwined with Sujata's longing. One day, the Buddha said, the monk encountered a wise old man seated beneath a grand tree, radiating peace. The golden light of the morning sun seemed to enhance the poignancy of the story, illuminating the hearts of those gathered. The monk asked the old man, the Buddha explained, "Is true freedom found in roaming the world?" The old man smiled serenely. The disciples' attention sharpened, their curiosity about the monk's fate guiding their focus like an unbroken thread. "Blessed One, why do we work so hard in this fleeting world?" The Buddha turned his gaze toward Jaya, his expression kind yet contemplative. "Jaya," he began, his tone steady, "let me share with you the essence of work and its deeper purpose." Reflecting on these words, the Buddha said, the monk realized his endless wandering had led him further from the peace he sought. Sujata lowered her gaze, her heart stirred by the gentle truths that mirrored her own longings and inner conflicts. The monk chose to return to the monastery, the Buddha concluded, embracing his duties as paths to understanding rather than chains. The air in the bamboo grove seemed to grow heavier with meaning, resonating with the weight of the Buddha's timeless words. Sujata, the Buddha said, addressing her directly, freedom is not about roaming far, but about settling the storms within you. Sujata took a deep breath, her once restless thoughts now replaced with an ember of serenity ignited by the Buddha's wisdom. Find balance in your yearning, the Buddha continued, and learn to be free in stillness as much as in movement. The disciples nodded in agreement, the truth of the teachings resonating with their own experiences, their own struggles for peace. The rivers you long to see, the Buddha said gently, flow within as much as they do outside. Seek them inward. Sujata's heart was heavy with reflection yet lightened by the wisdom that began to settle into her thoughts like morning dew. The day wore on, the disciples carrying forward the essence of the Buddha's lesson in their actions, their meditations, their understanding. Sujata remained near the grove, watching the sunlight play upon the leaves, her heart beginning to feel that long elusive peace. The moon soon rose over the monastery, its silver light replacing the golden rays of the sun. The disciples prepared to rest, their souls nourished by the profound truths that rippled like waves through their hearts. Sujata, though silent, radiated gratitude for the wisdom shared, her yearning transformed into quiet purpose. The bamboo grove, an eternal witness to the Buddha's teachings, held its secrets and lessons within its gentle embrace. The night deepened, and the peace of the monastery resonated under the watchful stars, harmonizing with the eternal truths imparted that day. Another warm breeze whispered through the bamboo grove, carrying the delicate scent of blossoms across the monastery grounds. The disciples gathered in their usual place, their hearts filled with anticipation for the Buddha's teachings. Among them, a merchant named Rajan bowed deeply before speaking, his voice steady but laden with concern. Master, Rajan began, I work tirelessly, yet I feel distant from joy. How can I balance work and find peace? The Buddha looked at Rajan with serene eyes, his presence exuding compassion and wisdom, his silence inviting reflection. Rajan, the Buddha said, his voice as calming as a flowing stream, balance is the key to harmony in all things. The disciples listened intently, their attention captured by the profound yet simple truth the Buddha shared. You see, the Buddha continued, work and rest, effort and stillness, must coexist in equilibrium to nourish the soul. Jaya's gaze followed the bird, its diligence inspiring a sense of quiet admiration within him. The Buddha continued, his voice unwavering. The soft rustling of leaves seemed to harmonize with the rhythm of his words, heightening the sense of sacredness. There was once a merchant, the Buddha began, who sought wealth with unrelenting effort, toiling day and night without pause. The disciples leaned closer, their faces reflecting a mixture of curiosity and anticipation for the lesson within the story. The merchant amassed great riches, the Buddha narrated, but his health waned, and his heart grew heavy with discontent. His efforts seemed futile, yet within his persistence lies the unseen promise of future growth when the rain arrives. Anand nodded, realizing the connection to his own struggles. The gentle breeze carried the Buddha's words, as if ensuring they reached every ear and heart in the bamboo grove. The merchant, overcome by his burdens, asked the yogi, what is the secret to lasting peace and fulfillment? The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, sensing that the merchant's journey mirrored their own struggles for balance and understanding. Consider this path, the Buddha said. Each step upon it seems identical, yet each carries its own significance, its own intention. He looked into Jaya's eyes, his words a gentle encouragement. Anand, the Buddha began anew. Every failure carries the whisper of opportunity within its folds. Listen closely, and you will discover its secrets. He began to work mindfully, the Buddha said, cherishing moments of rest in the company of loved ones, Finding true peace, the grove fell silent, the disciples absorbing the weight of the Buddha's tale, their hearts and minds stirred by its truth. Rajan bowed deeply, gratitude radiating from him, his concerns replaced by a sense of clarity and resolve. Master, Rajan said, how can we achieve this balance in our own lives, amidst our varied duties and callings? The Buddha gazed at Rajan and the other disciples, his presence a beacon of guidance amidst their sea of questions. Balance begins with mindfulness, the Buddha replied, being fully present in each moment. Whether in labor or in rest, the disciples nodded collectively, their faces reflecting a shared resolve to integrate this wisdom into their lives. Do not see work as a burden or rest as idleness, the Buddha continued, but as parts of a whole. The sunlight seemed to dance upon the bamboo leaves, as if celebrating the profound harmony of the Buddha's words. When you work, the Buddha said, let your effort be wholehearted. When you rest, let your rest be complete. The disciples sat in quiet reflection, their hearts alight with the realization of the interconnectedness of all aspects of life. Rajan, now visibly lighter, spoke again, his voice steady and filled with newfound determination. Master, he said, I will strive to bring balance into my life, honoring both effort and stillness equally. The Buddha offered a gentle smile, his approval radiating like the sun's warm embrace. His silence an affirmation of Rajan's resolve. The day unfolded, the disciples carrying within them the seeds of balance and harmony, planted by the Buddha's teachings. The grove remained a sanctuary of peace, the bamboo leaves whispering the eternal truths imparted that day. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet, the disciples prepared to rest. The stars began to emerge, one by one, illuminating the night with their gentle brilliance. Guardians of the Buddha's wisdom, the bamboo grove, an eternal witness to the transformative power of enlightenment, held the lessons within its heart. The disciples, united in purpose and understanding, found solace in the profound truths shared by the enlightened one. The Buddha, a beacon of compassion and wisdom, remained a steady presence, guiding them toward the ultimate liberation. And as the night deepened, the teachings resonated within them, a symphony of balance and peace echoing through their souls. The gathering dispersed, yet the wisdom remained alive in Anand's heart and those of the disciples. Failure lost its sting, replaced by hope and purpose shaping each new step forward. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.